everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I'm Siobhan and I'm the founder of Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. So today we're having a Queen's Corner over New Year, New Me, the pros and cons with it, some of the pressures that we might feel because it's a new year, and goal setting. So I wanted to introduce my lovely ladies, my panelists here. So start in whatever order.
Hello everyone, I'm Shelby Kilgore, creator of Draw Near. My website, www.drawnearart.com.
Hi, I'm Jessica Bartolicona. I am a fashion stylist. You can find me on bravemode.com or on Brave Mode Studios on YouTube.
Hi everyone, my name is Destiny Rivabor and I'm the founder of Destiny Unveiled. You can find us at destinyunveiled.org.
And don't forget about your podcast.
Oh,
talk about that too.
So we do have a podcast and I think we're 2 episodes in. So you can find us also on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere that you can find podcasts, and you'll search for Destiny Unveiled.
Yes. So I wanted to talk about this because obviously it's January and it's the new year, but I know because it's the new year, sometimes it can be pressure with that. We feel like we have to have a New Year's resolution. We feel like if we don't have goals set already, then we're a failure. Or we feel like if we do set goals and we don't accomplish it, then we're a failure. And it's just certain pressures and unnecessary pressures, honestly, pertaining to the new year. So I just wanted to open up the floor, have a discussion about it. So if you're interested in this video, continue watching. So ladies, what do you think about the whole new year, new me mentality or saying? Do you feel like it's pros and cons attached to it? And if so, what are your thoughts?
I think I'm not a huge fan of the New Year, New Me, excuse me, mentality necessarily, only because I think it does, we kind of discussed earlier how it creates this pressure. You have a countdown 10 seconds into the next day. I could do that tonight. So the new year is literally tomorrow, the next day. You know what I'm saying? So it's, nothing would have actually changed overnight. Literally, that's an overnight situation of counting 10 seconds. Oh, and now I'm a new person. It's, you know, change is gradual.
Yes.
You know, you need time to bloom. So I think the con to that is you almost set unrealistic ideals of yourself. Not even just the goals, but just an ideal of yourself that's not really accomplishable and or even necessary.
That's a good point.
That's good. I agree. I mean, I think that everything has to be just in balance, because you can say, oh, it's 2019 and it's like 10 seconds, you're like, I'm changed. I think there was like this Instagram video that I saw and I thought it was so funny. I'm like, I'm different. And I think that depending on someone's state of mind, what they've been through, sometimes they do need a new year. They may have experienced a lot of turmoil, and so giving grace to that person who's just holding on to that. But I do think there's beauty in, like, we're always constantly growing. You know what I mean? Like she said, tomorrow's a new day, you know, and I think it's to have that mindset of, I always constantly want to change to that when it does get to this end of the year. Like for me, like December is where I'm like, okay, so what did I accomplish? Let me start on these goals now versus like January the 1st, you know what I'm saying? So not knocking anyone who does feel like they need a new year, depending on like maybe they went through divorce or just grief and loss. But I do think that there's beauty in always constantly trying to change and better yourself versus waiting for another year, because sometimes I think I saw a meme too, Instagram, it was like, I blew up for the year.
Yes, already.
It was like next year.
It was January 2nd. I saw that. It was like, catch me in 2020.
And I thought that was so funny because I think people think that way. It's like, well, I blew it, so I'm just gonna keep eating what I'm eating. It's like, no, it's a process. Change is a process, and transformation is a process. And I think we need to give ourselves grace, knowing it takes time to change anything. So
I like that you mentioned that, and you being somewhat of a planner, you're sitting down thinking already in December, this is what I want to do. But then some people aren't planners, and so some people don't do it until January. I know with me, sometimes I can sit down in December and do it, but I feel like this year took a bit longer because it was just like, Lord, what do I really want to work on? I don't want to just put anything on paper and God didn't co-sign. So I want to pray about it before I do it. But I will say I did feel pressure. I had a guy friend text me in December, and he's just like, so what's on your New Year's resolution, or what's your goals? And for 2019, and I was like, I don't know yet, and I'm praying about it, and once I figure it out, I'm gonna put it on paper. And for a split second, he did make me feel like I was almost off track or insignificant because I didn't have anything down, or am I behind because I don't have it written down on paper?
Right.
And I know it's pressures with that with social media, and people are posting their goals and they're saying, okay, these are my goals, and if you don't accomplish them, then you're a failure.
Right.
Or not giving yourself enough grace to change, because you are going to change throughout the year, and sometimes your goals change within 3 months.
That's good.
So what are some pressures you think, well actually, what are some pros? Because I know we kind of talked about the cons, but what are some pros?
Okay, so I think the good thing about a New Year's resolution is like towards December, at least for me and like my job, everything kind of slows down because mostly everybody goes on vacation. So like most of December is kind of like almost just like quiet. Like you have time to just reset and really think about your year, think about what happened, think about the goals that you did or didn't accomplish, and kind of reevaluate yourself. And it kind of, and everybody's kind of doing it. So you have a chance to sit and just say, okay, what is it that I want out of life? What did I not like or don't I like about what's going on? How can I change it going forward? So it does kind of give you a chance to reflect, which during most of the year people don't have time for that because you're so busy. You're just in the motion, and it's like December is kind of the time where you get to slow down and just stop and think. So that's the good thing about it. You know, if you can kind of channel those pressures into positive, you know.
I do agree with that.
Yeah,
Have y'all felt any kind of, have you experienced personally any pressures with the whole new me, new year, new me mentality you're saying personally? I know I kind of shared my story with, it was like, oh, I'm not on track because I don't have them written down by December, but have y'all felt that before? Not necessarily in this go round, but.
So I think it's just depending on how much social media I'm consuming, because you're like, everyone's like, and I don't knock that because I think that it's beautiful to celebrate what you're wanting to do. But I think if you're not, kind of like I like to plan things out, and if I have it, I'm like, wait, I need to, and I'm like, wait, no, I'm just gonna rest. And just because, you know, it's true, like for me, my year is usually very, very busy. It's sometimes I'm like, Lord, I just want things to stop sometimes. But my Decembers are like, they're just so quiet. And I remember telling a friend, I said, you know, I'm being so lazy. She's like, no, you're resting. Like, why can't you just rest? You know, because I was trying to plan and stuff. And she was like, why can't you just rest? And for me, I felt, you know what, I'm just going to rest. And there's still some goals that I haven't set or put to place yet. But I told myself, you know, you work so hard during the year, like, it's okay to enjoy. So I enjoyed my family. My brother came in town. And I just really I didn't do that much. You know what I mean? So sometimes, depending on being on social media and someone is saying what they're doing, I have to check myself saying, you know, let them celebrate. But maybe I need to log off so that I can like reset, and then when it's time for me to plan, I can do so. So I do sometimes feel the pressure if I do see someone else putting out there and I haven't yet done my part.
You never know, like that person may have been looking at you a month ago and thinking, man, she's really doing it. I'm not doing anything. Now I need to do something, and now they're doing something because they said they needed to.
Exactly.
You know, so you just never really know.
So that's definitely a pro of it, kind of motivating others to jump on the bandwagon.
It's good.
She said something that was really good, and not to get off topic, but I feel guilty when I rest. I have
we
that.
all do.
Like, 'cause I just know there's so much I want to do and have to do. And so when I find myself doing stuff like that, where you're just laying down watching TV or just not doing anything, I'm wasting time. Like, what am I doing? And it's like you said, like, no, you're resting. You know, like that's important too.
It really is. Because I never watch TV. I know it's weird, but I don't watch TV. Like my TV could be off for 4 months at a time. But during the holidays, I get to like Netflix and literally chill. Like, But and I'm like, why do I feel bad about just doing nothing? You know what I mean? Because I think you're always like, it has to be purpose. Like, I mean,
it's culture too.
And I think it's women and culture. Because I think we're in a driven generation where it's just like women are top dogs now, and we're overtaking a lot of things and climbing ladders, and so we feel like we have to go, but sometimes it's like,
Rest your body.
But you can rest too.
Yeah.
You don't always have to go.
That's good.
And social media doesn't show that side of rest. It's
No.
like, well, what are your goals? What are you doing? You ain't succeeded. I ain't seen you post in a minute. You ain't
Yeah.
doing nothing. So,
Yeah.
Or the chips that you ate before that workout, you know?
yeah, no, that's
I'm
real.
just saying.
So I know, like, I want to say last year I heard about like people coming up with power words for the year, and that was my first time actually participating in it. And so last year my word was perseverance. Is it perseverance or perseverance?
I think I say
Okay,
perseverance.
so that was my word last year, and I feel like that word really helped me, and so I wanted to do it this year, and so now my word is fearless. Do you think having like a power word for the year helps you kind of power through and keep going
That's my
through
word
the
too.
year?
Oh, that's good.
I think it does, if you don't forget.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I think it's good. I think it's probably great to put that somewhere where you see it all the time, so that you're reminded of it throughout the year. Because we know, as the year goes on, you kind of forget about everything that you set in January. So I think it does help. It's like it gives you something like an anchor, you know, and kind of a reminder and like a motivation as you're trying to accomplish things throughout the year. You're like, I gotta be fearless. You know, it's like something to always kind of remind yourself of. So I like words.
I agree.
Me too, with having a word, an anchor word. So I think mine last year was abundance. But then I saw a lot of scarcity, so I'm like, okay, Lord, why do you give me this word? And it's not a word that I would ever use. Like, I'm not like, I just walk in abundance. But I feel like he needed to show me that. And literally at the end of the year, I was able to say, oh my God, Lord, like you gave me abundance in like deep relationships and abundance when it came to just community. Like I felt like my community just really grew, you know, like deeper friendships. And I guess I'm assuming like abundance is gonna be all this money.
Yeah, money.
You know, make it rain. And I mean, granted, God did provide. Like I did get a promotion, but He was like, it's not really about those things that you think are abundance. It's literally about like your family. Like I'm growing my family and my friendships. Like those mean the world to me. Then to me, that is really what God was like. I'm trying to show you what it means to be to live in abundance within me first, and then like it overflows into all your connections. I was like, oh. Okay, so yeah, I do like an anchor word.
Yeah, I say for me, it helped me last year, and that's why I definitely wanted to do it this year. So I didn't have it written down, but the Holy Spirit would He would remind me in times where I felt like I can't do this, and it was like perseverance, like remember, and I'm just like, you're right. And it really helped me towards the end of the year because it was this conference that I seen, and I was just like, I'm going to apply for it, knowing that I wasn't really just qualified, but I felt the need to still do it. And I opened my laptop and I'm applying because I'm like, I would love to speak to this group of women. And then the devil came and it was just like, this is above you. You can't do this. And I was just like, you're right. And I closed my laptop, and literally the Holy Spirit was like, you can do it. Perseverance, remember? Don't quit just because it looks hard or because you think you're not qualified enough. And so I opened the laptop and I was like, even if I don't get it, at least I have the experience to know how it feels to fill out an application to apply for a conference, or at least I know what kind of questions they ask, so I can know how to tailor my words. Like everything was an experience for me, and what you're doing is not in vain. So even if nothing comes out of it, I still use that experience to say, okay, I know how to fill out an application for a conference. And so it was literally the Holy Spirit just putting that word back into my head, like perseverance, don't quit. And so filled it out, and then I got the letter saying that I didn't get it, but I didn't feel bad. I felt actually accomplished that I even stepped out on faith to do it. And it was just like, that's okay, but I did it, and I didn't quit, even if it was a little intimidating for me. So that's why my word this year is fearless, because I'm like, girl, stop worrying about what people think. If you want to post it. Like if you like my channel, like I always have to talk about stuff. If you want to post a hair video, post a hair video. Post a makeup and just have it like just just everything. And so I'm like, forget about my audience and what people think you should be doing. Do it. Don't let anybody stop you. So a word has definitely helped me. I want you ladies if you could, to share a goal setting tip for those who might be struggling setting goals, and maybe they watch this video and they're like, man, this is good, and you know, it's not made yet and I still have time to figure it out.
I would say for me, what works is what I call leaving room. So, like, leaving room for God to adjust whatever needs to be adjusted.
Yes.
And then
like
kind
that.
of secondly, I kind of realized over time that there's a difference between my, like, things I'm believing for and believing in versus the goals themselves. So I made, like, for instance, I moved to New York. I made a list of things I wanted to achieve within the year that I was there. And I looked back at the list and everything got achieved, which was crazy. But I didn't look at it again. I just decided to make action step goals. So my goals were the action steps. Then I had the things I was believing in. So I think sometimes we get confused and we'll make the achievement the goal, where really the goal is the action steps leading to that.
Ooh, that's so good.
And I realized that I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should do that from now on. that worked much better, and I think you get less discouraged because you can easily check off a list of, okay, this week I'm going to read this book that's going to help me do this, whatever, you know, or you're going to start that YouTube channel in my case, or you're going to do whatever you're going to do. Okay, I know this can lead me there. Those are my goals. So more, I would say setting the actual action steps and then having a list of things you're believing for.
That's good. And I'm glad you gave an example too, because I know for a minute I was lost. And I was like, wait, actually,
there's a difference. I realized. Yeah, that's the thing. Even when it's something that you have to think about. Like, oh wait, there's actually a difference. Distinguish what the difference was. So yeah, I think that would be my tips.
I have resources.
Yeah.
Those are my tips. So these are 3 things that I'm currently using. One is called Passion Planner.
Okay.
And I think, did you get one of those?
I have the Cultivate Power Sheets. Oh my gosh.
Yes, the Power Sheets, if you're like want to spend some cash. Those are really helpful. And one thing that I out of all these is a free one, and it's called Refresh and Reflect Sheets by Jen Jett. And I honestly think that when it comes to our goal setting, we also should assess our hearts. And one thing about the sheets, and it's free, so I can give you the link to post on there.
Yeah.
But it really allows you to just kind of process like your year, like what happened here, how is your heart about X, Y, Z, and you're kind of like pouring your heart onto paper, and then you go into the goal setting.
Love that.
Because I think sometimes we have to really check our hearts, like, okay, if I didn't accomplish this, why? Like, what went on this year as to what's holding me back? Is there some place that I'm walking in fear? Is there a place that I'm still grieving over? Is there heartbreak? Like, what's going on in my heart? Let me assess my heart, and then I can go plan. And I think for someone just like, I'm just a feeler, and I take in everything. Like, I need that before I start planning, because I'll just be spinning all over the place. But it's such a great, it's just like 2 sheets, and just ask you like different spiritual goals and things, and then it's like a really great thing, because it also talks about action steps. See, like, what books you gonna read? How are you gonna get there? You know what I mean? Where do you want to go? Like, when it comes to like trips and stuff. So it's a spiritual, but it also talks about like fun things that you can do. So those are definitely good resources that I would recommend.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. I can send it to you.
Okay, I'll do that, and then I'll post it in the description bar. Did you have one?
So I am not a planner. I really am not. I would love to be, and I would love to say that I am, but in
And
reality,
you'll love the sheets then. 'Cause she talks about that. She's like, I don't like to plan.
Oh, that's great.
There you go.
Yeah, that's great, because I don't. I am like, I have an idea, and I just go for it and figure out the plan afterwards, which really.
That's actually beautiful too.
But
So
I'm somewhere in that middle
Like
ground.
type B.
Is that what that is?
Type B. I've never heard that. I'm type A plus.
I don't know what type. I always try to know what type I am. But actually, I don't feel bad about that, because I'm that person too, and I think it's a trait of being an artist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just want to do it.
Like,
you feel that energy,
and
yeah.
I gotta go for it.
Yeah.
It don't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
At all.
So
That's
I'm not a
good.
planner, but if I would say, I think a good thing for goals is don't give yourself too many.
Ooh.
Like,
love it.
I
That's so simple,
have
but good.
so many things I want to do, but if you do, I feel like you can write them out and then give yourself like a top 3 for the year.
Yes.
Because like
Yeah.
we've mentioned, like change is gradual, and
Yeah.
to say that you're gonna change 6 things about yourself is a lot. It doesn't sound
That is a
like
lot.
what it is, you know, like.
Yes. Yeah,
So it's
that's
like
good.
have the, you know, you can write out everything that you want, obviously put it on paper, but like have just like a small few
Yeah.
that you're like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this, because it feels a lot better if you can say like, hey, I got 2 things or 1 thing that I actually achieved this year, actually changed about myself, rather than like 07 that
It was half done.
Oh man, I love
That's
that.
good.
That is.
That is great.
It's really good. No, you'll like it because she has this great organization, but she's like, I just don't like to plan.
Yeah.
She's like, I have a really weird thing about planning. So I was like, okay, so you'll like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you'll
love
like
that.
it.
I can't wait to use that.
So the last thing is just share a word of encouragement. I feel like that was a little encouragement mixed in everything, but sharing a word of encouragement for those struggling with that new year, new me saying and the pressures of it. But I feel like everyone already touched on it. Just shortening the goals, making sure they're realistic,
Yeah.
getting power sheets or a passion planner. I think,
Mhm.
yeah.
I
I think
think
those are good.
I know what I will say. I like the idea. I know you said realistic, and that's something I think about a lot. Is like, okay, what is realistic for me? But then I also realized that I have a very small brain compared to the hands of God, right? So it's like, okay, in my vantage point, what's realistic is what's actually in front of me currently. Everything else I'd have to have faith in, regardless of how big or how small the goal is. So I think it's okay to set unrealistic goals. I think
It's good.
it's, you know, again, if you're leaving room for God and those things. I've written some really unrealistic goals, and they happen, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so what else can I do? Like, you know, and so it's like, I think it's okay, because you need to make yourself feel a bit limitless.
Yeah.
In
Push
order
yourself to do
yeah,
it.
because you not, I mean, challenge yourself a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, put something in there that's like, I don't know
Yeah.
about this.
Write
one.
something down that
Mhm.
scares you.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
scares
That
you.
you always wanted to tackle, but you felt like you couldn't. And
Exactly.
It's like, I can't do that.
Exactly, because that's what's really going to challenge that
Right.
perseverance. You know, it's really going to challenge you to have that fearlessness. You know, so I would say it's okay to have an unrealistic goal.
That's, yeah.
It's like something, like I said, the things you're believing in. Like as an example, when I was in New York, I wrote down I wanted to style 3 editorials for Elle magazine. That's literally what I wrote down. Okay, now that is exactly that face right there. You did. You put what down? I promise you, that's what I wrote down. A month later, I get called to style 3 cover stories with the editors for Elle China. So like what I'm saying is that was
Beautiful.
I wrote that out because I was like, this ain't gonna happen. That's why I wrote it though, because I wanted something that big, that like
I love that.
no. But I was like, you know what I'm gonna do though? I'm gonna reach out to people. I'm just gonna put my name out there. Whatever I gotta do.
So putting action behind the goals.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
That's
Not just writing it
that's
down.
what I'm saying. The goals are the
Yes.
action steps. The
Yeah.
things.
And you did say that.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I decided I was going to reach out to different people, and I reached out to one person. I talked about this in our individual interview we had, but I reached out to one person, and then she decided to link me with 12 other people. I emailed all 12 people, only 3 responded, and she happened to hear about this L shoot, and having something like that happen after writing that down, and actually I forgot that I wrote it down, and went back and read the list and saw that I wrote it down. I was like, oh, and sometimes people will say like, oh, you know, writing it down is what makes it come to fruition. But I think the fact that I just decided, what writing it down for me meant was, okay, God, I'm gonna believe for this. You know, my writing it down, the actual step of writing it down, gave me the confidence in Him. But it did. That's not the actual physical step that made that happen. That was all God. So the confidence I have is not really in me, in Jessica. It's really in God, because I don't have the capabilities to do the things that I want to do. But God owns the world. He owns the people who own the companies you want to work for. Like, you know, He gave them that idea. And we look at people who have maybe a big company or a big whatever, and it's like, they had to take some action steps to make that happen. In my case, I can do that. You know, why couldn't I? I'm God's daughter after all. Why can't I do that? So write some things that are unrealistic that are going to stretch you a little bit, and just make simple steps and leave room for God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And I would just say that, you know, when it comes to setting your goals, remembering that there's truly nothing to prove.
Yeah.
Something that I have to do a lot is a lot of heart checks. Like, why did I share that? Why did I post that? Because am I trying to prove my worthiness because of this goal that I completed, or am I trying to like just show His glory of what He's done in my life? So sometimes I think there's like this meme or this quote that talks about like those silent and private goals, and I think there's cuss words with it, but it's like smash those goals or anyway. So but do them quietly. And I thought, you know what? If I set a goal and no one were to ever know about it, but just like my inner circle, would that be okay? So just realizing, would you still be proud? You know, so just realizing that when you're setting your goals, there's truly nothing to prove. And should you celebrate, celebrate. I'm all about celebrating, but just remembering that, I mean, your value isn't attached to the goal at the end of the day. It's attached to Him. So.
That's good. Well, thank you for stopping back by my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video because I enjoyed filming it. I'm going to have everybody's social media in the description bar, and I'll highlight it on the screen. But please come back, like this video, share, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to get my subscribers up. Like, it's not about numbers, but it's a small victory that I'm trying to celebrate. So I would like to get to 100 subscribers. So share, but follow us, like the video, comment. But until next time, bye.
Bye.